Next item is the approval of the agenda. Did anyone have any objections to items on the agenda or want changes? If not, can I have a motion?
So moved to approve the agenda as presented.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call the question. Of all those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we have communications to council, and anyone can come forward and speak to council that on any topic. I'd ask you to please state your name, where you live or work in Keystone, and limit your comments to not more than 3 minutes. And the same thing for folks online, just raise your hand on your on the automated system and we'll be able to call on you. Is there anyone who would like to speak? No one in the meeting room. Is there anyone whose hand is raised? All right. In that case, I'll declare communications to council is closed. And the next item is the consent agenda. Does anyone have, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda or pull something from the consent agenda? Councilmember Kerr.
Approve. I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Your second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Yes. Go over.
The next item is the public hearing on ordinance of 2025-0-15, an ordinance of the Town Council, Town of Keystone, establishing the structure of financial funds pursuant to the Home Rule Charter, including creation, special funds, lodging tax, conservation trust, and workforce housing purposes. And will the clerk please read the title into the record?
Ordinance 2025-0-15, an ordinance of the Town Council of Keystone, Colorado, establishing the structure of financial funds pursuant to the Home Rule Charter, including creation of special funds, lodging tax, conservation trust, and workforce housing purposes.
At this point, I'll declare the public hearing open. And the following are the procedures that we'll be following. First, we'll hear from a report from the town manager, followed by questions from council. Then we'll take public comment on the ordinance. Following public comment, the council will be asked if they have any additional questions for staff, and then the public hearing will be closed and the council will deliberate. So I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Town Manager.
And I will let our finance director, Vicki Fox.
All right, this was brought to your attention last meeting. And this is just to put all of our funds into one ordinance so it becomes part of our code and it establishes what the funds can be spent on. So does anybody have any questions?
Is there any questions? Councilmember Haganah.
Thank you. And I know we've talked at length about several of these previously, but for anyone that might be listening, could you go into great detail about the lodging tax fund specifically and the workforce housing fund specifically on what those can be used for?
Sure, absolutely, yes. So the lodging tax fund was voted on in November of 2024 and became effective January 1st of 2025. And it's to collect 2% lodging tax on any short-term stay of less than 30 days. And those revenues can only be spent on and this is the exact language that comes from the voting ballot. Thank you. That's why I was looking for that. I was like, what's, so it's to be spent on capital infrastructure and capital projects, Highway 6 safety improvements, maintenance and improvements to streets, trails, and related public facilities, and public safety.
Thank you.
The housing fund?
And then the housing fund is established through the Summit County Housing Authority. And those funds, so they, and that's the ballot that's through Summit County for taxes collected, and then they distribute them to each town. And so those funds, once we get those funds from them, are for affordable housing purposes, including the construction of workforce rental and owner-occupied housing units, planning, financing, acquisition, construction, reconstruction, or repair, maintenance, management, and operation of housing projects or programs, including affordable housing for families of low or moderate income and workforce housing, and any other lawful purposes related to workforce or affordable housing as authorized by voters and state law.
Thank you. When you say acquisition, is that acquisition of physical buildings or land?
Either one. It's for the purpose of affordable housing.
Thank you.
Are there any?
And while we're on a roll,
Councilmember Kerr.
so what you've just established is the housing fund and the 2% lodging fund, tax fund, were both ballot measures that the voters voted for and come with very specific ways that we can spend it. Could you address the Conservation Trust Fund briefly, please, which I think was originally a Colorado-wide ballot measure?
Yeah, that's not a ballot measure, but those funds come from the state.
But when they created the lottery,
Yeah, that was a ballot measure.
that was the purpose, one of the purposes for it. Okay.
And
And
so
so they too come with,
they do
constraints.
constraints, yes. Yep, they're restricted on what we can spend it on. And so allowable expenditures through the Conservation Trust Fund established by the state for the ballot language is acquisition, development, and maintenance of new conservation sites. New conservation sites means interest in land and water acquired after establishment of Conservation Trust Fund pursuant to this section for park or recreational purposes for all types of open space, including but not limited to floodplains, green belts, agricultural lands, or scenic areas, or for any scientific, historic, scenic, recreational, aesthetic, or similar purpose. Capital improvements or maintenance for recreational purposes on any public site. Capital improvements means the acquisition or improvements of fixed assets, and then operation of systems of television, relay, and translator facilities, and the use, acquisition, and equipping and maintenance of land, buildings, and recreational facilities, therefore. And it's not to be used for general operating expenditures, including salaries, except those directly related to maintenance.
that was a mouthful. Thank you. It's helpful to understand
I
that.
know, and on that too, the state has, they're really quite strict with that, and you have to put in a reimbursement once you spend those funds, and then they determine if it falls in their guidelines. And so I have found that once you decide on a project that you want to use for that, it's best for me to reach out to the state to make sure that it fully fits into their requirements. Because when I was in Grand Lake, they wanted to do something that seemed like it would be within their guidelines, and they specifically said no.
Good to know. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or discussion? All right. At this point, I'll open the hearing to public comment. And again, if you'd like to speak, please step up to the podium, state your name, where you live, work, your association with the town, and you may speak on the topic. You have 3 minutes, and neither the council nor the town manager will answer questions or respond to your comments during the public comment period. And is there anyone who would desire to speak, either in person or if you're online, please raise your hand. There's no one in person who'd like to speak. Is there anyone online?
No.
In that case, again, I'll turn back to council. Does council have any more questions for staff? Hearing none, I'll declare the the public hearing closed, and we will now consider the second reading of ordinance 2025-0-15. Councilmember Sullivan.
I move to approve ordinance 2025-015, establishing general and special funds on this second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Kerr seconded, so it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I would just like to point out this was discussed extensively in our work session prior to this, at a prior work session, and numerous questions were asked and answered. So it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, further discussion or comment?
I think that these are really important funds, and I really appreciate the staff defining those. And I'm really excited to see some of the ways that these are being used to make positive impacts on those areas in the future. So,
Oh, here,
thank
here.
you.
Any other comments? At that point, I'll call the question. And I'd like to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Hagenow.
Yes.
Councilmember Kerr.
Approved.
Councilmember Martin.
Approve.
Councilmember Cormet.
Yep.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Approve.
Mayor Riley.
Approve.
There are 6 votes to approve.
Great. Thank you very much. The next item is Resolution 2025-32, the resolution of the Town Council of Town of Keystone appointing and setting the terms of the first members of the Business Advisory Committee. And I'll turn it over to the town manager.
I will pass this out to our town clerk.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Town Council. My name is Madeline Cielu. This resolution, a version of this resolution came before you previously about a month ago with the recommendation for 6 regular members. The staff report does say 8 regular members in here, but it should say 10. The resolution is updated and correct. It's just an error in the staff report, but we are coming forward with 4 additional members to be recommended after having an extension of the recruitment period for about a month and additional advertising. We did reach out to the individuals that council specifically referenced after the last meeting as having potential interest, and did receive a letter of interest from at least one of those people, as well as 3 other additional members. So passage of this resolution would result in approving all of these members as members of the advisory board, as well as setting the number of members as 10 regular members and defining their terms. And then staff is open to any other questions and feedback.
Questions? Councilmember Kerr.
Yes, thanks. Could you tell us what's for the 4 additional people, what is the business they're associated with?
Yes. So for Alan Blado, he is the owner of Liquid Descent, which is not actually in Keystone, but he's a Keystone resident. That's like a rafting company. And then Jonathan Wilford is the new owner of the liquor store. That was formerly Keystone Grocery, I believe. Let's see. Let me verify which one that is. Yes, Keystone Grocery. And then Adam Magyar is a person with business experience but is a resident of Keystone. And then the fourth person was Rob McAvoy. And he is a part-time resident in Lakeshore who also has business experience but does not own a business within the town of Keystone.
Without going into detail, could you elaborate on what an example of business experience would be? Is that like being a leader or senior executive in a corporate company or?
Yes, I believe for Adam, that is the case, as well as Rob.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions of staff?
One.
Oh, Councilman Hagan.
Thank you. We do have representatives from Vail Resorts in here in some way, shape or form. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then based on your in-depth analysis of the applicants, do you feel like we have other proportional representation from other industries and or management companies in the area?
I would say that there is a wide variety of folks outside of Vail Resorts. Proportionally, Vail Resorts probably makes up a large majority of the business within Keystone,
Sure.
but a lot of other people are represented on the board as well.
Thank you.
How many people, sorry,
Go ahead.
how many people from this list are affiliated with Vail Resorts?
So Mark Kimball is the only person who is directly employed by Vail Resorts. Chevy also is affiliated with Vail Resorts in some manner, perhaps, in terms of having experience working with the resort and partnering with them on things.
Some of these business owners might rent their property.
Right,
Yeah.
yes, that as well.
It's hard not, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you have a business in River Run, you're probably renting if you're not Kindred, you're renting your property from Vail Resorts. And Kindred's relationship is that they own the property, and I think Vail Resorts will be managing the hotel operations for them. Yes.
Are any of these folks business owners in River Run? I don't remember that from the last go around. I didn't think so.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, but they're all eligible as in the future. Good, okay.
Any other questions? Can I have a motion? Councilmember Hagan.
I move to approve resolution 2025-32, appointing and setting the terms of the Town of Keystone Business Advisory Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Sullivan seconded. Any debate or discussion? Hearing none? Well,
I'm just glad we're moving along. This is great. It took a while. Thanks for the staff work to get this done.
hearing none, I'll call the question. And will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Kerr.
Approve.
Councilmember Martin.
Approve.
Councilmember Parmet.
Approve.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Approve.
Councilmember Hagenow.
Approve.
Mayor Riley.
Approve.
There are 6 votes to approve.
Great, thank you. The next item is Resolution 2025-33, a resolution of the Town Council of Town of Keystone appointing and setting the terms for the first members of the Town of Keystone Marketing Committee. And I'll turn it over to the town manager.
Okay, I've given you all a handout actually with an updated resolution and a very brief staff report. I apologize for the staff report. I had medical issues last week while working on this. Kind of a background, this marketing committee, tell the truth, wasn't ready to get it rolling out, but getting the destination blueprint grant and the potential Chicago or Colorado tourism office grant, it's important that we get this started on some level with recognized town people. So the marketing committee is a little different from the business, well, from many of our other committees. The goal of this marketing committee, which we approved by resolution in August 25, 24, established the roles of the marketing committee, which is basically setting up a brand, coordinating marketing
Strategies.
strategies, thank you, and coordinating with the other marketing agencies that we have in this community. At this point, we only have 5 people I'm recommending for the committee. We have 8 seats. We're still trying to find other interested people in industries that aren't represented by these 5. For example, our short-term rental industry. I think it's very important that we get a member from the short-term rental industry and a couple more local business, small business owners on the committee. But given the fact that we are moving ahead with the destination blueprint and hopefully getting the tourism office, we need to get something right here. So the 5 members I'm proposing are all marketing professionals who are active in the Keystone area. The first is Amy Kemp. She's Kindred's Director of Marketing and Operations. Maya Russell is Keystone Neighborhood Company Director of Events and Marketing. Whitney Hensroth is the Arapahoe Basin Director of Marketing. We've discussed that even though a basin might not be in our community, they definitely have a role in our community. Sarah McIyer is Keystone Resorts PR Manager, and Justin Slisek is the owner of Steep Brewing and Coffee House. I anticipate to have 3 more members shortly to bring to you for approval. You know, as I said, this is something we have to get going because we're going. I'd also like to recommend, since Councilmember Kerr no longer has duties with the RTA Formation Committee that we approved last week, since they bailed on that, I'll explain in my manager's meeting. She and Councilmember Thisted were both active from the RTEP incorporation of marketing through now. She's very valuable. I would recommend that she be appointed the council representative to the marketing committee.
What's the role of the council representative?
In this thing, it's a very.
Well, really on any committee that we put a council representative.
The role of the council representative is to listen and give input as requested from the members. It's a listening position. These are advisory committees. To you as the council, this is kind of like a community engagement, a chance for you to hear voices from outside this room. And
Question, so it's listening, non-voting,
non-voting,
so
but
just listen.
just
Not-
listening. And in something like
You
this.
don't want us to be the leaders, for example.
Don't want you to be the leaders, but you can certainly contribute to the plan. I think the leadership should be directed from the outside members, but council members have special knowledge too, and you shouldn't hesitate to weigh in on what's happening, but you shouldn't. Councilmember Kerr should not be directing the marketing show. She should be first and foremost as a listener and a liaison, and bringing marketing ideas to you, bringing your ideas back to the marketing committee. And if there is some special knowledge you have, that's always.
And does Councilmember Kerr want to do that position?
Yeah, I'd be happy. It's not part of this vote, right?
No, it's
No.
not.
Okay, but if you, since you asked my opinion, I would point out that Amy Kemp has already proven herself to be quite an inspirational and focused leader. And while it's true that some of these folks have already started meeting and they have the motivation to start thinking and planning before being appointed, what's important to recognize, and that's part of the role of the council liaison, is that their role is to collaborate, not to promote their particular organization, but to find points where we can create synergy. And this is what I've seen in these meetings to date. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty enthusiastic about that group.
there was a little pushback about including Arapahoe Basin representative, but we had a lot of people that I'm proposing on this committee completely understood and saw the reason.
And they have a great marketing
I agree.
arm, so.
I think the reason's pretty clear because you can talk about how they're supposed to create synergies between their organizations. But when your organizations are kindred, Vail Resorts and KNC, there's not really any functional marketing difference between those organizations.
There's a huge difference.
Huge.
There is.
Yes, there is, but there also
But
isn't.
but at the same time, we are continuing to look for other members.
The point is that while they are different organizations and they do some little differences in marketing, they are kind of a synergistic conglomerate. And if we would like to market our community and our town as something beyond just a tourist destination that's solely based around their resorts and its direct and indirect appendages, then it's very good to see someone like Justin Slezak on there and also someone from A Basin. And I would hope that the other three that you bring to us would offer a lot more diversity.
Yeah.
And there's the reason for, well, I would disagree that Kindred is an arm of Vail Resorts. If I get the marketing emails from Kindred, and they definitely push well beyond the Vail Resorts envelope. I do agree that Keystone Neighborhood Company and Vail Resorts are very, very closely tied together. However, all these people have large marketing budgets themselves. And what we're trying to do, as Councilmember Kerr said, is create a unified message. And I agree 100% that we want, my goal is to, for our remaining three members, have people who don't have that tie into the ski hill so much as they do to our community as a community.
I'm just thinking, because you said we're talking about town branding and town marketing, and to remember that we are a town and not a resort. And if you just looked at that list, it might be a bit confusing on which of those things we're marketing. I think it should be both.
I absolutely agree with everything you've said. And I think the point is we're tapping into skills and expertise. They actually have very different marketing approaches. And more importantly, I'm hoping that's the purpose of a council liaison.
This
To
is,
remind them of that.
this is an A list of talent.
Yes.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that I've personally reached out to a couple of STR management companies trying to get them to volunteer and have been unsuccessful. But I would like to see that. I would like to see in the future someone from the River Run community. I'd like to see someone from Lakeside Village. I'm pleased to see a representative from the grocery that represents a different demographic that we're not covering. But it's a start. Councilmember Haver.
A quick point, I don't think we have anyone from the grocery represented here.
That's business.
Oh,
Steve,
that's business. Never mind. Never mind.
that was the business, yeah.
And yet Steve.
No,
is a good
I just
friend.
wanted to, yep. And I agree with what the mayor has said so far. One thing I'd add on, and I'm actually going to disagree with Councilmember Parmet a little bit. I think we need to dive into Vail a little bit more, specifically with the conference center. I don't see any representation from the conference center, and I think that would be a really big miss on our part.
I agree completely, and actually.
We had that conversation this week.
Been having this conversation more, yet it's no longer does it, so I'm finding out.
Okay.
My other question, right, and real quick, LinkedIn search, Amy's been with Kindred for 2 years at this point. But what happens if any of these people decide that they want to change careers and are no longer going to be with their respective companies or organizations? Are they?
These are not, I can't say they're not here because of their companies, but they're also super A-list talent. And if they want to stay on and contribute, I see.
100%. But I guess part of A-list talent, A, is a huge part of what it seems like here. But B, it seems like unifying the message around some very strong players in the community, right? So would we try to I hate to say backfill, but would we try to backfill that representation?
It would certainly be a foremost consideration.
Okay. We wouldn't kick
Depends on
them
that
off,
person.
but we would look to add to it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any other questions, Councilmember Permit?
I would just agree with John. We have the greatest conference center, I think the largest conference center in the mountains. And it could be even more utilized.
And it can be more tightly wrapped. with
Yes,
everything
I
else.
agree.
And
That's-
it's,
Such a great place for people to come.
and it's easy to say Vail Resorts has a high control of K&C, Vail Resorts PR manager, and Kindred, which has a tie to Vail Resorts, but those three are not the conference center, and they are,
Yes.
yes, they're Vail Resorts, but they are very separate.
And as I said, Councilmember Kermit,
Yeah, yeah.
we actually been discussing that this week.
Not to be a dead horse.
In fact, you've made a very good point. It's one of my major concerns in this community is the conference center.
Yeah.
And the utilization.
I'd like to get outdoor recreation, you know, represented in some way, a bike shop owner or something like
Would the nonprofit school in town be a good one to look at?
right by the top of the grade.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I've
On their
reached,
bandwidth.
I've reached out to two of the bike shops in town, or three of them,
Oh, yeah.
and they've not been interested.
Do you reach out to
When
Mountain?
I was trying to recruit for the business committee.
Talked to him, I talked to Norski, the peer over in Norski, and we've talked to the owner of the shop over in Snowdance.
So we'll keep working on.
I think those are very important. So, Carol.
So I think this conversation is motivational itself, and it shows that the direction that we want to go. I urge that we go ahead and appoint these folks with the understanding that we can appoint more down the road, because the Destination Blueprint grant actually has a deadline, and there's 100 consulting hours we want to take advantage of. So unless there's any other concerns, rather than more, recruiting, I propose that we move
Why
forward.
don't you make a motion?
Oh, I
I
can
have
do
one last
that.
question,
Yes.
sorry. I noticed that we have one yet to be determined, three yet to
Yeah.
be. Let me reread that and then I answer
We're
my own
open to
question.
3 more,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead, Carol.
Go ahead, Carol.
I move that we approve Resolution 2025-33, a resolution of the Town of Council, this is so much word, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Keystone, Colorado, appointing and setting the terms of the first members of the Town of Keystone Marketing Committee.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? I'll call the question. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution's carried. Now we're moving on to the report of the manager and staff and reports. I'd ask us all to be brief if we can during this council meeting as we go forward.
Okay, I will talk through really quick. Most of our various division reports you've heard or we've discussed in this meeting already. Vacancies are still open till October 6th for a council member position. We have 2 people who completed their applications. We have 1 person who has expressed strong interest in submitting an application. And we've reached back out to her to see what happens.
The application is simply a letter of
A
interest.
letter of interest.
Could you ask them also to give us more in-depth information of perhaps a resume as well, once so that we can consider when we go through the evaluation process?
When we reach back out to everyone after the October 6th deadline,
Good.
we'll try to get that from them to go into the packets, the October 4th. SDRs are rolling along, very few glitches. About 70% of the individuals have already renewed their SDRs. The big players and market management companies are all going to do that at the deadline. But we're happy. Reminder, CAS CML hometowns 2030, if you want to do it.
Where is it going to be? Here?
CAS is here.
Right in this building, okay.
And CML dinner is the night before in,
No, the cast dinner's the night before.
CAS dinner is the night before in Breckenridge.
Yeah, and the CML is the following.
CML's the night of our CAS meeting, but at Frisco. SCHA housing taxes across the county, as we've discussed, are down slightly. I'll be bringing more about housing to you at our next meeting or two. Town hall purchasing, we're going to discuss, but it's moving ahead. The county pulled out of the RTA plan. So the RTA committee that we approved last meeting is indefinitely suspended until the county sees interest in it. It's their tax money. There's no point in going forward with it. I feel it was short-sighted since this committee was not going to be making decisions, but really just gathering information and allowing us to make the decision in the future. Hopefully they'll reconsider it sometime soon. Probably have a new nicotine IGA next meeting, even though we finally just started getting our nicotine money from the old IGA. Let me see, Vail Resorts, Keystone Resorts is proposing some changes to their transit this year. This is nothing we can do other than just voice our concerns when we meet with the resort, but they are proposing eliminating the Antlers Gulch and Wintergreen stops from the red line. And they're proposing eliminating Lakeside, West Shore, Willows, Lenawee, and East Lake from the silver line.
What's left?
They claim safety concerns generally for these two things. Just a heads up, we just got the news today. I haven't.
When they say they want to, is there any reason, anything that would,
Are they subject to PUC?
No.
No, they're not
no,
PUC.
so what kind of feedback?
Well,
I guess what I would like to see is, does council believe that those lines are important to our community? And if we do, I would like to see a thumbs up vote from council for John and I to express our strong disagreement with their decision and the potential impact on our community.
So I don't know the silver lines just off the top of my head and the stops you mentioned. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on the entire transit system. I do know the wintergreen and those lines, that seems insane to me. But
Those cut out a massive portion of our permanent residents.
Yes.
Absolutely.
From the Keystone Transportation Network, that they need to get around this community and be part of our community that is stretched out lengthwise, as it must be by Highway 6.
Yeah.
That's their lifeline.
That's a question. I did get the same notice. And they were talking about safety, right? Because they couldn't get their buses through. Was that just,
Well, they've been
is
getting
that a
their buses
sense
through
that
for
there are other issues
decades.
that are really not
Those,
addressing?
well, they've been running, for instance, the Silver Line for years.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what changed. And to say there's a safety issue, apparently it's for going through the parking lot at Wintergreen. And I'm not sure what a safety issue with that, since they go through the parking lot in the Pines. And that's definitely cars parked on both sides.
Yeah, the notice, they didn't talk about ridership levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a little reason.
If you look at what was pulled out, and I just heard about this afternoon, when you look at what was pulled out is workforce housing, major impact there. And the run going through Lakeside Village is a run that they're saying, well, they can come to the lodge or go to the Argentine stop on the other edge of the village. And so I think we just need to come online and say, we disagree, and express our view on the subject. I'm not sure we'll have an impact, but at least we can voice objection.
I agree.
Well, I agree.
There's a consensus. So let's go ahead.
Develop that.
Let's,
Yes, conceptually, yes.
All right. And John, you and I have guidance for the next meeting with Shannon. Yeah,
can we try to and I'm trying to phrase this. Can we try to understand what the objectives are here?
what do you mean the objectives?
I mean, why they're canceling?
Yeah, like,
I would rather I can make a,
discussion.
I can make a guess.
Yeah,
But I'd rather
Okay.
hear.
I'd rather hear it from
yeah, understood.
We've got to discuss.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate on private businesses.
Yeah.
And that's all I've got for you.
Right. Who is going to Mountain Town?
Jess is going and.
Jeff's going? All right.
No,
So Jess will be going?
I'm gonna go.
Do we want reps more? Is that enough?
If someone wants to go,
I'm trying to go, but I
It's a
don't think.
really good, at the very least, it's a really good
Wonderful.
networking.
Yeah.
Some great sessions.
Great
and
sessions.
some
Let
great-
me look at my calendar and get back if that's all right.
Also a maybe.
But if you're planning on going, please go because it's a very expensive registration.
Got it.
So if it's a maybe, I would recommend not signing up.
We did get 1.5 scholarships, basically.
Did we? All right.
Yeah, so we're not paying for Jess and.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So basically, we sponsored, so we got a benefit. Good. All right, so with that, let's go on to report of mayor and council. Anyone have any items? Councilmember Sullivan.
I've requested that we put on the agenda next week a zip code resolution. It was recommended that the council formalize the desire for a zip code. So just FYI. I met with Northwest Cog, quick. They've repackaged their community business development fund, which is for small businesses that maybe have that need to expand, have some challenges that might have problems getting funds on their own. Anyway, I mentioned that because our community really isn't much of a participant in that community development fund for small businesses.
Can we use our communication process to share that information with our businesses?
Sure can. One other thing that they brought up, they had a big discussion about the transit authority, but A Basin is a partner with TreadShare, a carpooling app. It was really impressive. And I just mentioned that because I think they do connect with our area. Just a couple other things. I met with Hickenlooper's office this past week regarding additional services in the cluster box, and they're back in the game to try to push USPS. But I don't think anything's going to happen until we have a postmaster locally, that we'll have to work that through. The House Bill 3095, I mentioned, had passed through Congress, now is in the Senate. They're going to assign a Senate bill on the 29th, we hope, and that's for the zip code. So just to, and then if that passes Senate, it goes to the president, and that's how we get a zip code.
Is that a requirement that if that bill passes, that the USPS has to give us a zip code, or is it a recommendation?
No, that's a good question. The president, so far, what I'm told, they've never said, but USPS is lobbying against it. I do know that.
Is this a single issue bill?
Yes, but it's for multiple towns.
Interesting.
Yes, yeah. And John, Carol, and I spoke at the KOA HOA meeting. One of the things I mentioned was that they were somehow responsible for Christmas lightings, the green lights.
Yeah.
And they put that on hold, waiting to see if the towns are going to pick that up. That's basically what.
That isn't what they said in their board meeting the day before.
Okay, well, this is what they said at the session. So, and I only know that because I went there earlier than. They are setting up an STR advisory board to advise the town. That was interesting. But they did acknowledge that the town of Keystone is setting a global model for STR relations. That was a nice little pat on the back.
They use that term, global model.
This is the words, I'm just telling you what they said. Then Carol and I visited with Settlers Creek. A couple of things just to mention. There's certainly people have mentioned KNC, and they're just really disappointed they're being taxed twice for the same things. This was the comments. There were some misinterpretations of the 2% lodging tax. They were thinking that Keystone did not, the other resorts didn't have to pay if they had lodging.
Which they do.
We straightened all of that out. The word, obviously, safety, they brought up 6. And this one, they said, second homeowner participation in the town. And so there was concern that they don't get it. And so we talked about that, but I think the word back to us is that we need to reemphasize that it's not just for our committees, for coming to council, coffee with council. I mean, we're looking, our ears open to a broader group than that.
And we put second homeowners on boards and commissions as well.
And which we
discussed that.
mentioned, but I was kind of surprised that they didn't recognize that.
There was an HOA rep at the KOE meeting, said, oh, well, I can't go to your coffees because I'm a second homeowner. Oh, where'd you get that?
So I don't know if we can promote that, Maddie,
All
but
community members.
last thing I had is that October 6th is a coffee with council, and we'll need some volunteers. And I'm not able to join this time.
So the tricky part is October 6th would have been, I think the last evening session was June, July, August, September. So it'll be 4 months. Do we want to do an evening session?
We did an evening session at Pizza on the Run a couple months.
Yeah, wasn't that June?
No,
Goes fast. Was it July?
I think
I thought it was August.
I thought it was August.
Yeah. Okay, so we're good.
We're good.
We'll
We're good
address
for
it
this one.
next month. Okay.
But
So-
we do need 2 volunteers or volunteers.
Voluntold.
We don't do that.
Unfortunately, I'm out of town, so I
I'm out of
can't
state.
throw myself at it. Or if we don't have volunteers, then we need to,
Well, I will go, but I would not like to be, I would like to let someone else step up first.
We can throw a new council. No, it's before we appoint.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really fair.
I can tentatively say yes.
Okay.
I would like a person in arms to go with.
Oh, I'll go
Okay.
if you're there.
yeah, we have 2 names.
It's really
Let us know. if we
more
got-
appropriate to have 2.
Let us know.
When is this on the 6th?
The 6th, 9 o'clock at Steep. So
So you have
these 2
time.
or Aaron?
I don't think I can, but let me look.
If it's 3, we need to notice.
Yeah,
Oh, we noticed
Can we
it
just
anyway. right?
notice it?
Notice it.
Yeah.
okay, that's all I had.
And Aaron, if you can go, pass that on. Anything else for council members?
Our amazing town clerk and myself attended the Tenderfoot HOA meeting. Lots of great conversation. There was some very spirited conversation that was occurring while we were waiting to share our town update. We got a lot of questions about the magic mushroom use, and well, Tenderfoot is one of the areas that would technically fall under the B1 designation. But cleared up that it was a need to address and not us kind of being passionate about passing a resolution for magic mushrooms in town. But if we didn't do anything, basically, then it would de facto be allowed kind of everywhere. In simple terms, answered a lot of questions about public safety, the STR process for complaints and that hotline there. They had a lot of questions about nuisance ordinances and the process that's been happening there, noise ordinances as well. And then talked about some repair work in town. Notably, there's a light outside on US 6 that I guess is burnt out. We passed it on to the town manager, and the manager said that they were aware and working on that. So overall, great conversation. And I think it was really a constructive one. So and I know we might not be able to, but Maddie, was there anything else you had that I didn't cover?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? The only items I have is spoke at the Soda Spring 1, Soda Spring 2 HOA meetings this weekend. Overall, they went well. No major issues were identified. And we were thanked for coming. In fact, in both of them, they appreciated the input and the opportunity to hear what's going on in the town. We do have 2 meetings coming up that our clerk is going to attend next Saturday. One is Silver Mill at 9 a.m. and Slopeside at 1 p.m., both of them the Dillon Town Hall. And the question is, right now, I'm out of town, Dan's out of town. Is there anyone who can attend the 9 a.m. or the 1 p.m. meetings with our clerk?
And you said like this coming Saturday?
This coming Saturday.
I'll be out of town as well.
So, I mean, you do, I've heard that you do exceptionally well in these, Maddie, so.
I might
I'm glad to hear
be.
it.
I'm going to check my schedule. I'll follow up with an email.
Yeah, and follow up with Maddie. I will, I saw the presentation that Dan, you put together for the KOA meeting.
Yeah, that was great.
I loved it. Carol did?
Carol, the credit.
All right, I loved it. In fact, I used it at sort of spring meeting without all the questions.
Cool.
And it flows tremendously easier.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's our marketing committee coming through.
So I will, if there's no objection, I'll send that one out for the Silver Mill and Slopeside. And I'll also include you on that email as well, Steve. The other item is, we did have a discussion after the last meeting with Shannon, with the resort GM. And a question I was asked by a council member was, what's their plan for the bike park next summer? And they have not made a firm decision yet on the hours and days that the bike park is going to be open. And they'll make that in the coming months as they get closer to the season, probably closer to summer season, they'll make that decision. Frankly, I consider that good news. It hasn't been foreclosed that it would be open, would close 7 days a week, and we have an opportunity to continue to express our desire to that be open 7 days a week.
Okay.
That's all I have. Last item, Councilmember Kerr.
Other matters?
You know, I'm just going to call that, but I said
Well, you
last
said
time.
next item, I read
No, I
your
said,
mind.
I was just about to. The next item is other matters. Does anyone have any other matters they'd like to bring up?
Indeed.
Councilmember Kerr.
2 points. I'm very excited to note there's 2 new businesses in Keystone. One is Macarons, which I have seen at the local Dillon or local farm stands and what do we call those?
Farmers market.
Farmers markets, yes. And a nutrition and health club. They are both in upstairs and downstairs of our former council members' former business. I'm hoping for the best. Rather than me pitch it, I'd like to bring your attention to a great article written by the Summit Daily's Kit Geary. The second issue is, I think we all agree we have to plow the new sidewalk section. I wonder would you be interested in asking the town manager to explore options and costs for keeping the community path plowed in the summer? Not committing anything to look into it?
In the winter.
What did I say? Summer? God, I really hate
He'll
to get
keep
on
the-
summer.
To keep the witch plow,
In the winter.
to keep the witch plow, what,
Oh, is it the rec path, the
The rec path,
community path,
exactly right,
whatever
the
we're
rec path.
calling it? Just if you could look into it.
I'll look into it. I do want to bring up a few issues right beforehand. Right now, the path is plowed through Dillon, basically to Summerwood. Then when it hits county property, it's not plowed. And then you would hit stretch of the town of Keystone. And then you would hit more county property till the end of the golf course. And then we hit ours, but I will look into the cost.
Yeah, I understand those are considerations, but perhaps you can look at the part that people would most closely associate with town, because I saw it come up over and over in the remarks.
One of the things on that, and I am not a cross-country skier, but it is not a universal thing that people believe the rec path should be plowed in the winter. I distinctively remember when Frisco made the decision to plow their rec paths, there was some very vocal posts on the local Facebook page. And so I think we should
Look into it.
I guess I'll bring all sorts of options because
Yeah.
there might be the idea of grooming it too.
Sure. Does that go on the gator?
So I'm asking, thank you.
Well, I was going to make the precise same point. Love the idea of grooming parts of it, maybe plowing other parts where there's likely to be pedestrian more towards the town core and other areas could be groomed. Question, do we need a motion to appoint Carol as the council representative?
Just a question, thumbs up, Carol's the representative?
We need nobody to say no.
Well, wait, what's Carol voting?
Oh.
You already said yes.
Oh,
You don't care anymore. She's it,
thank you, I think.
right?
Cool. Do we need anybody on the business one or not? Or do we care? Do we have to have people on each one?
It's not a bad idea.
I would be willing to
Good
serve on
idea.
the business one.
I like that.
Okay. Vote, thumbs up.
Oh,
Thumbs up
yeah.
for me. All right. All right. Any other business?
Our next meeting,
The next meeting is the 14th in
14th, that's 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
And that's when we'll appoint a new council member.
And we're going to have to figure out in the next 3 weeks how we want to run that, since we're going to have a formal council meeting and appoint the member and the rest.
And as a reminder, please remind me and the group, without knowing any of the applicants, right? We do not have to appoint somebody. We can consider that. And if we choose not to go with any of the applicants, then we would just wait till the next election cycle.
If we don't, we would consult our attorney on whatever.
Right.
It was a very specific question that we had asked during the first time we
Right.
talked about this.
Yes. And that's true, unless you don't have a quorum at a meeting, and then the clerk has to call a special election.
Okay.
So if we ever not have a quorum sometime coming up, then we'd have to call a special election.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. That was a good question. With that, I will turn it over I'll recognize Council Member Martin.
Motion to go into executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402, section 4, subsection B and E and L to discuss matters that are subject to negotiation, develop strategies for negotiation, or to instruct negotiators, and to receive legal advice related to the purchase of a building and property. An executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402, section 4, subsection B, to receive legal advice related to zoning within the town.
I second.
Seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved, and we'll be moving into executive session for the public. The public, there will be no further action taken after the executive session. No business will be conducted. The town council will adjourn the regular meeting immediately at the conclusion of the executive session. And at that point, we're adjourning to the conference room.
There's one